What's up, guys? This is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I've done a garden update in a little while. Been way behind on videos, haven't done a whole lot. Busy, so stuff going on. Anyways, let's go check out the garden. Everything is doing really well right now. Having somewhat success on keeping the deer out of the garden a little bit. They're still getting in some, but I can see a lot of things are starting to grow better right now. So the deer haven't been pressuring it too hard. Now I'm not really taking, not really doing a good job of keeping the grass out, because I really wasn't going to fight the grass if I was going to be fighting the deer all summer. But the deer have kind of slowed down a little bit, so let's go check things out. Now before you start asking, Houston's not in this video, and I apologize, but it's about 7:30 in the morning. Houston's still in bed, but it's still cool out here. Oklahoma in June gets hot fast, so I'll try to get out here in the garden and get some work done early. Start out here before we go inside. Here's a bunch of squash and zucchini. Oh, zinnia, forgot. Zinnias at the end of the rows. I love zinnias, they're so pretty. But we got some squash doing really well. These are patty pan squash. There's a few little patty pans on there. And some zucchini down here. There's a pretty striped zucchini right there and some gorgeous flowers. Houston's watermelons. Everybody wants to know about Houston's watermelons. Look at that. They're starting to vine out. Starting to get some vines on them. Those down there, never mind the grass, but doing really well. These here are vining out. Got to control some grass, but they're growing. So don't look over here. Oh, that's ugly, that's bad. But there's my 2 rows of green beans that were pretty much robbed of all their leaves, but as you can see, they're recovering. Just don't pay any attention to that. That's embarrassing. Flowers, there's those zinnias everywhere. They're just blooming like crazy. So let's go check out everything in the high tunnel, because it's doing superb. If you remember, in a video a week or so ago, I transplanted a ton of stuff from out here to inside just to try to save it from the deer pressure. And I'm kind of proud to say we transplanted peppers, tomatoes, squash, zucchini, eggplant, and I am proud to say everything made it. I know everyone says like squash doesn't transplant well. I'll take you back there and show you a couple plants I transplanted that are way too big to be transplanting, and they made it. So we'll start over here on these raised beds. Look at this red Malabar spinach. It's vining up. Some saltwort and shiso. I'm not a big fan of this. Saltwort, delicious. Red Malabar spinach, I'm just letting it grow. I really haven't harvested any yet, but all of these came from some seed from a subscriber named Tara, and it's doing really well. My kale, if you remember, this was way overgrown. I told you there were some bugs getting after it. I really trimmed it back hard and sprayed it with the stuff that came from the Homestead box, and hit it with the neem oil and BT, and the caterpillars are gone. I really trimmed it back hard, and that stuff is just, man, if you remember, I planted that stuff. I planted that in that raised bed as seedlings in October, and this is June. And look at it, we've been eating on that for months and months and months. Moving down, Houston's carrots, oh, they're doing great. We just eat carrots all the time. My onion bed, I'm gonna go ahead and make a whole video devoted to my onions, where they're pretty much all dying off, falling over. There's a few still standing, but need to do a harvest video on that. Now, here are those 2 squash and cucumber plants I told you about that I transplanted. Guys, I transplanted these a week ago. They're huge. They're way too big to be transplanting. Squash and zucchini don't usually transplant well, but I needed to save a few more because, feeding a lot of people, we eat a lot of squash and zucchini. So I transplanted a few just as an experiment to see if I could save them. And guys, those are blooming. And they are gonna make it. So, transplanted squash and zucchini, they survived. Now, next is okra. I put in a whole row of okra right here down the side of this bed. This was transplanted okra. Most of it, about half of it, was a variety that was sent to me by a subscriber that was, I believe it was his grandpa's variety. Been planting in Oklahoma for like 50 years. And the deer were just hammering it. Deer love okra. I never would have dreamed it. Deer love okra. So, it's doing great in here. Let me show you. Check them out. A little bit of bug pressure, but we'll get them sprayed again. They are looking awesome. I'm gonna have to trim some squash leaves back so they don't get covered, but that's not a big deal. But that whole row right there is okra that I transplanted out of the garden. Tomatoes, most of these, well, let me rephrase that. About half of these were transplanted, and some of them were ones that were already here. We had to tear out a few that weren't doing anything, but tomatoes are doing great. Need to get out here and put some more strings up and tie them up. These were all tomatoes that were basically eat down to nothing. I mean, there were almost no leaves on them when we transplanted them. And let me show you. Basically, they looked like that stem right there. And this is all new growth. So here's where it was eaten down to, and this is all new growth. So they're doing well. Let's move over here. Nothing in that row yet, but it's ready to be planted. I'm thinking I'm going to put some purple hull peas in here maybe, since they didn't make it in the garden. Alright, these peppers were transplants from the garden, and banana peppers, they're getting loaded down. There's a few okra plants spaced out in here that were original. Those weren't transplants, but all of these peppers here were transplanted. Got a few that are looking a little puny, but that's okay because most of them aren't. More of Houston's carrots. Oh my gosh, that boy loves his carrots. And these peppers need to be staked and tied up on strings because they're starting to fall over on me, and that may be a chore for this morning. But those were seeds that I started from the Homestead box. Cucumbers, I just posted a live stream video this morning of a cucumber challenge from a subscriber. Their channel's called Warpack Gardeners. Go check that video out. They're wanting to do a little competition to see who can grow the biggest cucumber. And there's a few watermelon plants that Houston and I moved in here because we were afraid we weren't going to get any outside, and they are exploding. Houston strawberries that the deer destroyed are coming back. There's a little strawberry. They're blooming. So that's not bad. Doing good, doing good. Going down the bed. There's some eggplant. I need to stake those up because you can see they're starting to fall over. I need to get those tied up on some strings. And just some miscellaneous stuff. There's some very bug tattered Swiss chard, but that's okay. We'll fight the bugs off of it. We'll get something out of it. A few watermelon radishes. Look at this potato plant right here. This was a potato that I found in our yard. So I was walking around our yard one day and found a potato sprouted growing in some leaves, and I just picked it up, brought it out here and threw it in the ground in the high tunnel just to see what it would do, and that thing is exploded. So that's what's happening in here in the high tunnel. I need to get on a ball. I need to get on the ball and start a few more things from seed. Get my next succession of squash and zucchini going, because those huge squash and zucchini plants back there will play out eventually. I don't have any spinach growing. I need to start some more spinach. Just a few other things, but hey, everything in the high tunnel is booming right now. It's doing great. I know you still see a lot of dirt, and my goal is to look for it to look all solid green. But hey, it's coming along. It's doing great. We're starting to get a lot of squash and zucchini, eating cucumbers, kale, We will be getting some green tomatoes soon, I'm sure. Let's see, carrots. Got to harvest the onions back there. So, peppers are exploding. Everything's doing good in the high tunnel. It's looking great. Still have to shut the doors every night just to keep the deer out. But, hey, I know a lot of people thought I was going to quit gardening. Posted that video saying I was done fighting the deer and was turning to this embarrassment. Oh, this is terrible. Turning this over to the deer. Well, I'm not turning this over to the deer. Guys, I'm not quitting gardening. I love gardening. I'm just going to reduce what I'm doing. Got this whole side over here ready to go. This is going to be planted soon. I'm not sure what all I'm going to do out here, but I used my wheel hoe, got it all cultivated. Got most of the grass killed out of it. A little more work to do, but it's coming along, and I'm satisfied. I'm happy. We're going to have lots of food growing. Gonna be harvesting lots of food out of there to feed our family, so I am not gonna quit gardening. Don't freak out on me, guys, because I had some people go into a panic thinking I was gonna quit gardening. But we're not gonna quit. We're not gonna quit. So thanks for watching, guys. That's all I've got. Just a quick high tunnel garden update, and that's it. So I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to our channel, I'd sure love to have you subscribe. We do lots of cool stuff, lots of different stuff. It's not all gardening. So thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video.